everybody at Shit Talk Reviews. Thanks for stopping by. My name's John. In the room with me, David J. and Derek. And we're here talking about music like we do once and again. So let's talk about some music. What's going on, fellas?
John.
Beer. I got beer. Maine Beer Company. I don't know if we can see it, but Lunch by Maine Beer
nice.
Company. Man, good beer.
Tonight's the Derek Showerhead Beer and Metal Fest.
Hey guys,
Listen.
just real quick at the end of the podcast, I just have a little bit of news for you guys that I'm going to share, and I think you're really, really going to enjoy it, especially Derek. So we'll get to that later. All right.
Okay. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, it's your week this week, Mr. David J. What do we got?
Yes. So guys, I am really excited about this. The name of the band is Dune. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't know anything about these guys. I was just preparing for my week for the podcast, and I always try to find bands. And I stumbled on these guys on Spotify. And I know you two guys are, you know who they are, or you have an idea of who they are. At least it sounded that way. But they are a great 5-piece progressive band out of Scotland. They formed in 2013. Let me go through the band members. Victor Vicart on guitar, keyboards, and vocals. Alan Paterson on guitar and bass. Dudley Tate on drums. Daniel Barter on vocals, guitars, and Maxime Keller on keyboards and vocals. Just a phenomenal band. Doing some research just for being around at a very short time, since really 2017. They've toured the U.S. They've toured all over Europe. They've done festivals, the Psycho Las Vegas in 2018, Inferno Festival in 2019. I can go on and on. They do your typical venues out in Europe. So they are getting a name. I don't know how huge these guys are. It seems like they're gaining a following. This is their third album. Their first one came out in 2017 called Asheron. They then had one out in 2000. John, help me on this one. It was
2021.
Entomin and Anka, which was in
21.
21. Yes, 21. Thank you, John. And then obviously this one, Voidkind, which is to me absolutely amazing. And I really can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about it. So let's do it.
Well, one correction, 2013 is when they came out, and they are inspired by Frank Herbert's Dune books. And I did a little research on this album by watching Dune 2 last night. And we were supposed to record this podcast, and I completely forgot about it because I was watching the movie. However, I did go back today and put this album, Voidkind, to the movie. And boy, does it fit.
Yeah.
Really well. Like kind of like Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon and The Wizard of Oz. There's a nice glove there. You should give it a shot.
John, you especially, when I heard this, I just didn't know how you were going to go about it, because I know you love the prog and how things like that are. So I'm really, really interested on your thoughts specifically, because there's a lot going on here, man. I'm just curious.
Yeah, they're a really good band. I enjoyed what they did. I enjoyed their performances are solid. The parts are real tight. I think they made some interesting choices. I did some reading, and I think it was Victor. Forgive me if it was Daniel instead of Victor, but I think it was Victor who said one of the things that they wanted to do on this record was, often in modern metal, what you'll hear in terms of guitar work is it'll be one guitar part that is double tracked or sometimes quad tracked, and they'll pan one left and one right, and it gives it a nice thick full sound. What Victor wanted to do here on this record, or the whole band did, was instead of taking single guitar parts and panning them hard right and left, he wanted distinctly unique guitar parts on the left and the right, which is a very cool trick, and it goes a long way in establishing like a sound stage that you listen to.
Very interesting. Yeah,
it's very cool, and it is very, very distinct on this record that there's two different things happening, one on either side. So they did some really cool stuff like that. I hate to start with a complaint, but I'm gonna. And it's not about the writing, it's not about the performance, but I think the mix for me, I'm just struggling with it a little bit. Like it felt like there were areas where it could have been tighter, because they are cranking through this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I just, there were a couple of moments on the album where I thought, man, I'd love a little more clarity right here. Feel like I could get into it a little harder.
Was it like a metal just felt like a real good vibe and it switched to another type of just kind of jumped genre on you a little bit too much?
No, not that. That they do a lot of that, and I enjoy. Like I said, it had nothing to do with the writing or the performances. I think for me, it felt like a mix issue. It just seemed a little too big in places almost. You know, that it could have been. It's a powerful album. It could have been even more so if the mix had been a little tighter, and that's not across the whole record. And I realize I'm nitpicking too.
That's a fair point. Yeah, I mean,
I'm prepared to be skewered by some people for being insulting, but it was one of the things that I caught. I think they really made some big swings, took some big swings with like dynamics on this record, and like you said, going from really quiet, ethereal, dreamy, spacey passages, and then just hammering the shit out of you with like a crushing riff coming out. And I love that stuff. And they do it very well. And I really enjoyed that. Yeah. So overall, I like the album for the record.
Some of the songs, some of these songs were just so good. You know, we'll get into the songs later, but go ahead, Derek. I mean, I'm definitely want to hear what you think.
Just drinking over here. Proggy sludge, man. It's proggy sludge.
Yeah.
Mastodon and Baroness meets a little bit of Tool, some mesmerizing.
Yeah, I had Tool.
Mesmerizing tunes there, and atmospheres. A lot of good atmospheric stuff. Cinematic, if you will.
Yeah.
I did think that there were parts where the atmospheric parts were way in the back and almost borderline not you couldn't hear them, and that comes back to the mixing a choice. But in the end of the day, I enjoyed it. I didn't love the clear channel singing parts. I thought that there were several times, and please, Victor, don't light me on fire. Maynard James Keenan would have sang these better, and not everybody has, a Maynard to go to. I love the beefy, growly, chunky vocal parts. Love it. Some of the clear channel parts didn't work for me. Then again, reaching for
Telos, yeah, phenomenal.
Great
my favorite
song.
Track. My favorite one. Yeah,
great track, and I'll tell you why. I heard harmonies in there, and structures of yes. In if yes went super fucking heavy, that track is it. And
Derek, you are spot on.
Thank you. It would have been, and if all the clear channel vocals were like reaching for Telos, I would have been loving them all the way through. But there's some parts like Eleonora. It just, those clear channel parts didn't work for me. His clear channel singing. It was very whiny, but there are other parts throughout the record where he nails those clear channel singing parts. But that's my only complaint. Other than that, this album's, there's a lot to hear, and I have a shit ton of notes if you could see it. And so great choice, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. I know it had a little bit of everything for you guys, and it was kind of the expectations. I knew you wouldn't think it was great, but I knew you'd find some good out of it, because that's exactly how it was for me.
What, Dave, when you first played this, I know you weren't familiar with them. You hit play. What was your first impression?
It was almost like sermon meets like urn, somewhere in the middle. It felt like it was very prog, and it had that side, and boom, it would clash with a band like Urn, somebody that would just punch you right in the mouth. So it had a little bit of everything for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like he said, reaching for Teros, that song just is, man, it's just such a great song. And he's right. If they would have stuck with some of that theme throughout, it would have been really fucking banging for sure.
Yeah, I thought the opener, Summa Blasphemia. I like it. They bring the brutal right off the bat. You get a good idea of what Dune can do pretty early in the record, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Heavier the better. And the next one, Eleonora, love the triplet vibe of that it's just got that great feel to it. It's almost a swing feel, but it isn't, but it is. Great
It's
use
funny
of
because
dynamics
that
throughout
funny
that
you
too.
say that because that wasn't one of Derek's favorites. But again, you see it and heard it.
Well, he was talking
Something
about
totally
vocals.
different.
He was talking
okay.
about vocals.
I apologize. True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's just that feel. As soon as it starts, I went, "Ooh, I like this!" Right off the rip.
Right.
Reaching for Telos, solid. Reliquary is definitely at the top of my list. One of my standouts. Some really cool timing stuff there.
How about Path of Dust? Anybody like Path of Dust? Because I thought that song was awesome.
I really like that. Yeah. Not like your typical acoustic guitar intro or interlude.
Yeah.
It had kind of like I remember thinking like sort of a dystopian like Duel at Sunrise kind of vibe to it.
Right. Yeah.
It like you said, Derek, it very much painted a cinematic picture for me, which I thought was very cool. I like the vocals in there too.
Yeah, like I said, it has it's got a little flavor for everybody, really.
What I enjoyed about Reliquary was, this is going to be weird, but I grew up in Vermont and I couldn't not hear Fish all the time. But Reliquary was a track that has a kind of a thrashy parts, some shredding solos, but the song breathed. There's not vocals constantly going. There's not constantly, so they jam at parts through it. And the song breathed really well. And I think metal bands have a hard time with that because probably most of us metalheads have ADHD and they feel the need to fill the time. And what I appreciated about that track was it was able to just be what it was going to be. Not too much, not too little, just was.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. Simplicity.
Yeah, around the 2-minute mark, there's like a verse break in there that is just fucking nasty.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, John, to that point, a lot of this album had those wow moments, at least for me. Like, holy shit, wow, these guys just banged it right there. And then, gradually it'll go away and then boom, they'd come back and get you again. So there was elements of really good stuff on here.
Path of Dust. Very cool. I love that interlude. We just talked about that. And it leads into, I believe it's pronounced Sarmate. The Path of Dust was a perfect introduction to that song.
Yes, it is.
It flows so well. Great track layout move there. It had a cool, like, slinky, like, I don't want to say a Middle Eastern vibe to it. Maybe it was the scale that the guitar parts were written in, but
beautifully done.
Like Middle Eastern metal, riffy, but great ending to that one too.
I'm good. Glad you guys glad you liked it. More than I thought you would.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, David. Path of Ether following up. Another interlude, really spacey. I enjoyed that too. I like the keys throughout this record.
Yeah.
There's some very, very cool synth stuff in there.
Abode of the Perfect Soul. I like the trade-off of the hulking barks. And then there's like a beat down 1 second, and then there's almost like they do this clean healing spells where they heal you from the beat down that you took, and then they bring back a beat down again.
Right. Yeah.
Heavy to that one. Really great intro.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're a great band.
They're
a great band. And
let me ask you guys real quick. Because you both were familiar with this. So either one of you, how did you know about these guys, or when did you hear of them?
I don't know the discography. I just familiar with the name. They come up in searches and stuff.
Yeah, because you knew the spelling, John, like quick. So obviously you knew the band. How about you,
I can't
Derek?
speak.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the label's mailing list for years. So I see everything. I listen to everything that comes my way. I'm just a kind of a dick and only really sink my teeth into certain things. But this is definitely a band worth sinking your teeth into.
Yeah,
I've known about them for a while. They're definitely an up and comer. They, to their credit, they take every tour that they can get and go out on the road and do what they need to do to be heard and seen. Numbers. Where are we going with numbers?
Yeah.
Wait, go ahead. You guys, go ahead.
Derek?
Give it to me.
Yeah, I have solid 8. I enjoyed it. I would love to hear more Yes like harmonies on the next record. Just my 2 cents.
I before I throw a number on it, I want to go back to Abode of the Perfect Soul. One of my definite standouts on the album for sure. Felt like a glorious blend of Tool and King Crimson in spots.
Yeah.
Two of my all-time favorites. A lot of cool movements, lots of different vibes and flavors in there. Great song. So overall, the music, the songwriting, the performances, a solid 8.25. But the mix was, I really struggled with it. And so, I went a 7 just on the mix because I thought that, I would have made moves different.
You know
And
what
again,
though, John?
I say that as a Monday morning quarterback who doesn't. I've never mixed anybody's record, so what the fuck do I know, right? But as a listener, that I think I would have given it a slightly higher overall rating if I thought the mix was a little more suited to me. But I may be alone in that, so I'm open to it.
John lies.
Okay.
Hold on, John lies. He has produced a band named Demon Spit. It's true.
No, what I was going to say. Go ahead, Derek. I'm sorry.
Is it good? No. Is his production qualities good? Yes, he is very good.
Oh my God.
He made me sound like somewhat of a civil human singing a terrible song. So much so that my wife loved it. She was like, we were at Disney and maybe she was high on Disney, but she's like, this is actually good. And there's like one part where I go, let's go. And John's riffs kick in. And she's like sitting there going like this while we're sitting out on the patio at Disney at a resort. And we're rocking out the Demon Spit. I had to share that story. So your production, it inspired something in someone.
Well, you're too kind. Look, to hear that something we did inspired a stank face on somebody, that makes me
Very
happy.
nice.
3 people so far have liked it. Yeah, 3. And John,
Nice.
we can't play it for anybody, but
The only 3 that will ever hear it. Yeah.
I was just going to say, back to John's point on the mixing, he's got an ear for that because he's the pro. He's done this before. See, I don't have an ear for that. So how John hears it and I hear it is so different. So it's good that you got to get everybody's opinion, right? I mean,
but
he hears it differently.
I'm glad you said that though. But mixes are to a degree fairly objective. Subjective rather, I mean, there is a degree of objectivity to a mix. If it sounds like garbage, it may sound like garbage, but what you hear as perfect, where to your ears, everything is perfectly balanced in terms of levels and things like that. And what I hear, we hear 2 different things. So if you hear it and you love it, that's great. I hope far more people love, agree with you in terms of the mix than me. Maybe my ears were off when I was, playing this over the last couple of days.
Right.
I say that very, with all seriousness because it can happen. Hearing fatigue is a real thing. And I hadn't been super busy with audio work this week, but my point is just that I may be the only person who thinks that, the mix could have been better.
Right.
And I'm totally open to that and prepared to take all shots as a result.
You're not wrong. I found myself straining, and I tried it in different cars and a headphone, and then watching Dune, the movie, really loud with it. And I strained to hear parts at certain parts, and that's not the way a mix is supposed to be. You're supposed to hear everything and not be wondering what exactly is going on over there, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
you know what though? Again, I want to reiterate that they are a great band. They write great parts and they play those parts really well. They're a great band. This is just a mix issue. It's not an issue with the band.
Right.
So, and if you want quick proof, pull up their performance at Hellfest last year. It's fucking great. And as it happens, it's mixed super mixed on it too.
I will check that out. Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
All
so
right,
did you give a number, Dave? Did you put a number on it yet?
Yeah, I'll go now. I guess it's my turn, right? So
yeah.
Listen, I loved it. I thought it was really good. John, you just said it perfect. They really did. And I think if, the both of you had good things to say about it at certain parts, right? And there was parts of every song, just like you said, John.
Mm-hmm.
There's parts of every song that were so good. And I felt the same way. I really, really enjoyed the parts that I really, really liked, if that makes sense. And because of that, I didn't go crazy. I was in the realm of you guys. I gave it an 8.5. I thought that was pretty fair,
Yeah.
But I will say, Reaching for Telos and Path of Dust, great fucking songs, man. Loved them. But
Yeah,
thank
there's
you.
great
I'm
songs
glad
on
you
here.
guys enjoyed it. At least
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's the moral of the story here.
All right,
Yeah.
listen. We got a little bit. You probably know this already, but I'm going to say it anyway. Metal Den is at it again. I don't know what's going on with Metal Den and Motley Crue, but here is the latest, gentlemen. Another AI reference on Crue. There's a new song coming out, and I just wish the band would follow the song title. The new song to follow up Dogs of Shit is now called Canceled, if you will, and supposedly canceled. The follow-up, according to Metal Den, by inside sources, is 100% AI. So right when you thought, folks, Dogs of Shit was gone and we never see it again, they're back with a new song called Canceled.
Well, listen, we can't prove it. So
No.
if you're going to sue anybody, sue David for bringing up Metal Den.
Hey, listen,
or Metal Den.
It's Metal Den.
Or Metal Den.
I'm getting my sources from Metal Den.
Listen, until it's proven, we just are going to review the music as it is.
Yes.
Metal Den can go fuck themselves. And AI, whether it is real or not, it is a tool that is used today on many different fronts. You need to get over it. It's not going to go away. And hopefully, and I'm just going to say this, that AI will replace cleaning our house and changing our oil so that we can do more art, because that's what the power of AI should be, is letting us to create and be human and express ourselves and have more time to do so.
Can I just say one more thing? When I saw it, it said Motley Crue canceled. I said, oh, finally, it's over. but it was a song that's coming out.
Oh, sorry.
Talk about clickbait. Yeah, it's a pure clickbait right there.
Do you guys want an album to review for next week?
It's your turn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is, isn't it?
You ready?
I think I might know which one you're going with.
I think I did too, but go ahead.
The band is named Death Lens, and the album is Cold World.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, gentlemen, always a pleasure. Have a lovely, and can't wait to do it again next time.
Thanks, John.
Derek, if you would, for us, please, just one shot.
There. Yeah. It's got the Bruins hat on, too.